When you find yourself working 12, 13 hours a day, Saturdays and Sundays, and that's all you've known, that just becomes the norm. You do the work for a year, they'd wait to 9 months to really want their accounts doing. You say, why are you waiting 9 months? Well, because then I don't have to pay your bill because you haven't done the accounts.
Success breeds success, right? You want your accountant to do well because you're expecting them to give you business advice.
But look, we're not doing heart surgery. I said, the worst thing you can do is get stuck, sit on it and do nothing. My biggest problem in our business is that I hire quickly and I fire slowly. And it's the worst thing. If you just stick to those traditional clients, you end up becoming like them.
Hi there, welcome to today's video where I am interviewing an incredible accountant, someone I've had the pleasure of working with over the last couple of years, who has grown his practice to where it is today, from a traditional accounting practice to one of the gleaming beacons in Coventry City Centre. Introducing my friend and accountant extraordinaire, Arun Sachdev. Arun, how you doing?
I'm very well. That's a bit of an overstatement. But, yeah, no, I'm doing very well. Very well. Yourself?
Good. Very well, thank you. Very well. We're in Dubai, right? Recording this at the same time. It's like I see more people in person in Dubai than I ever do back home. Crazy, right? Because all my stuff is virtual, but when I come to Dubai, there's always people coming in and out. It's just one of those hustle and bustling places, right?
Yeah, my biggest clients, I see them more here than I do in the UK.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, they're all dotted around the UK, isn't it? Whereas now it's very centralised. It's easy to see people.
Good. So we're here today. I want to talk a bit more about your journey, because I'm sure, having worked with you and heard your story from where you were to where you are today, there's lots of value that I'm sure that you can share with people listening to this as to where you were and where you are now. So let's kick off with your story, Arun. Take us back to the days before you started the accountancy journey.
Yeah, I mean, I was born into it.
Mm-hmm.
Dad was a chartered accountant, Grandad was a chartered accountant. So yeah, our story starts in the late 60s. Grandad got offered a job at Solihull College as an accounts lecturer. Came over, left the family in India. He came over, started doing his job. 1972, VAT was introduced. And so, he's down the pub, down kind of where everyone used to hang out. And all the small traders said, look, can you do our VAT for us? Because the accountants wouldn't touch it. They would only just do accounts and tax. That was it. This new thing called VAT, weren't interested in. But like now, a lot of accountants won't touch payroll. So yeah, in the early 70s, they said, no, we're going to touch it. So I looked at my granddad and said, look, you're an accounts lecturer. Just do the VAT returns for us, come on. And he said, no, I just teach the stuff. I'm happy with my job. Don't want any aggro. Anyway, I think a few pound notes were exchanged and a few drinks might have been consumed. And he ended up doing VAT returns. 6 months in, he's making more money doing VAT returns than he is teaching at the college. So called his 3 sons over and his wife. They came over, went to school. When you weren't at school, you were doing VAT returns. And yeah, Sachdevs was formed. Then Dad took over in 1986 when he qualified, and I took over in 2011 when I qualified.
So it was always meant to be, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I was in the office when I was 7, 8 years old, and I do the same to my kids now. We weren't allowed to just sit there and watch TV. So either do your homework or come to the office and just organise paperwork. Like read the supplier's name and put it in alphabetical order so the people could then process it. So yeah, Dad bought me a computer when I was 5. It's like learn to type. Yeah, by 8 years old, I'm typing this stuff into the account software and doing that. So yeah.
So presumably you went to uni, did the ACA, that kind of thing, and then did you go straight into the family business?
I didn't want to. I was told you're going to become a doctor. So did all the wrong A-levels. When it became clear medicine was not an option, Dad reluctantly allowed me to become an accountant, which is what I wanted to do anyway. I was always interested in business. I always wanted to make money. I was always fascinated by that. Never had any interest in medicine. And so, yeah, then after my A-levels, which didn't go too well, he said, all right, fine, go and do accountancy. So I went to University of Sheffield, did accountancy, finished there, and yeah, joined the family practice. It wasn't ideal. It wasn't, in hindsight, I would have wanted to kind of go to a bigger firm, etc. So, but my dad wasn't well. Dad had MS. So his working life was limited. And because it was inevitable I would take over, it wasn't a case of like go and do 5 years, 10 years at one of the big firms and then come back here. It was a bit of a ticking clock. It's like, you need to go and qualify and do this. So I was kind of, I wouldn't say I was running the practice, but I was seeing a lot of clients and doing my exams and going to college all at the same time.
Okay. Oh, so you were doing all of that whilst at uni?
So I'd be at college kind of till 9 to 5. This is post-uni. This is when I did my ACA. So, you'd be at college at Kaplan for Monday, Friday, 9 to 5, get home, Mum would have dinner, and then I'd be doing client work from 7 till 10, try and do a couple of hours of revision till 12 and start again. And that was the case for, 3 years.
Early on then, so you qualify, and the practice was very different to what it is today. So give us a picture of what it was like in those early days whilst you were still training.
I mean, we were in an area called Foleshill, which is the Indian area of, and we were very much an Asian accountant. That's, there's no hiding that. And it was big. It was my dad and his brother, probably 10, 12 staff between the both of them. And yeah, small shopkeepers, takeaways, taxi drivers, your usual. But when Dad got poorly, it was quite clear he couldn't drive all the way there. So in 2008, they split up. And then it went from 2 partners, 14 staff, to Dad and 3 people working out of our garage. Yeah, that was it, because he couldn't travel. It didn't grow, it didn't suffer, it was very stable. He had 3 kids in private education. And he was like, I just need to get through this. I need to finish the education. So when my sister finished, that's when I started to pick up a bit. But it was a weird one, because that's how I viewed accountancy practices. Like 4 guys in a garage, earning a modest living. And that's all I knew. So when I qualified, the phrase, the world is your oyster. I said to my dad, so where's this oyster? They're like, come on, like, what can we earn? 20, 25 grand? He said, yeah, but that's a decent living. I bought my own place, bought my first place. I was engaged to my wife, and I had a good job working in Dad's practice, on the personal allowance of £9,450 a year. Because he couldn't get up and see the world. He saw the world from his chair, and that's what I saw. But things then happened, which I'm sure we'll get on to, where I realised this is not right. This is not how the world is. There's actually a hell of a lot more we can do. So
you're having those thoughts. So give us a sense of, turnover-wise then, and then what were those epiphany moments that you had on your journey to think, actually, there's more can be done here, and took you out of where you were to where you are today? So
turnover was probably 100, 120,000 pounds a year. I remember sitting with Dad one day and he goes, 10 grand a month. And that is what we need to turn over. And at the time, you think, okay, that's 25. I thought that's decent. Cut out your costs, you can earn 3,000, 4,000 pounds a month. That's all right. It's 40 grand a year, So after I qualified 2011, everyone paid by cheque, right? Post-dated cheques, you remember them. And HSBC was down the road from my house, from our garage. And I remember walking in, it would have been August or September 2011, just after I qualified, and handing over the cheques. Every Friday, it's my job to do the banking. And the bank manager said, Aaron, just let you know we're closing in 2 weeks. So, okay, great. What do you mean closing, for a refurb, or what are you going to do? No, the branch is closing. HSBC are going to go on this rampage. They're going to close a load of branches. Rather than worrying where I'm going to bank the cheques, first question was, what are you going to do with the building? This site was perfect. Corner crossroad, in a busy village, huge site, parking, the lot. And they said, oh, I don't know. We're going to give it to an agent. That's not really my department. I had a friend who worked for HSBC in Canary Wharf. I said, do me a favour, go to your estates department, find out a way in there, and find out the person who's in charge of selling the Tile Hill branch. So he made a few calls, and he goes, I found the person for you, his name's this. I called him. These are City London guys. They have no idea what a property in Tile Hill in Coventry is going to be worth. Yeah. So I rang him, I said, look, save all your costs. I'll buy the building. I'll just do it now. What's the price? So I gave him my offer. He called back a week later, said we can't accept it, but we'll take £10,000 more. I said, yeah, you got yourself a deal. So I bought the building.
I mean, just what was going through your mind to think, okay, going from garage to buying the HSBC building, what had happened to your thinking, your mindset, to make you realise that, yeah, this is what I want, this is the vision I have for the practice?
The planning permission was only conditional on Dad operating the practice. So I knew as soon as Dad retired, I'm in breach of planning. Wasn't overly concerned about that. But a lot of our staff came by train. And so between our house and the bank is the train station. So location-wise, it's perfect. I'm not putting any staff out. They can it's basically 2 minutes from the train station to our house, 3 minutes to the new office. So location was brilliant. And it was a corner site. You couldn't see us because the condition of the council was that, okay, you can work from home. You can operate this business from your house, but there's no advertising, there's no signage, there's nothing. It has to look like a normal house. And it did. And lots of clients, sometimes they would just say, why didn't you turn up to your meeting? Like, we couldn't find you. We're looking for the sign, we're looking for this. Like, okay, well, we're a house. I don't really want to come to someone's house. It's a bit awkward. So I knew that that model couldn't exist. So I knew I needed a place. Didn't want to rent. I'd rather pay myself the rent. It was close. Dad could still come to the office. You know, we could kind of get him there one way or another. It's only a 2-minute drive. So Dad could still get there. I could still be close to my mum. It just made sense. That location was ideal. So HSBC's only condition was that we're going to build a separate room within the building and you're going to rent that room to us because that's where we want to put our cash point. Okay. Great. We have £5,000 a year rent. So we got the keys, started moving in, started taking the bank counter out, everything. Mate, the walls just started to cave in. The ceiling was bowing. It was a disaster. And we couldn't remove the vault. Our builder tried everything. He couldn't remove it. This bank was built in the 40s and the 50s. Back then, you'd keep cash and gold and you just couldn't get it. I thought I'm going to make a feature out of it. Maybe put the server in there and, you know, but you can't even drill into the thing. So we had a price to basically renovate the whole thing. And it was a 1.5-story building, so it couldn't even use all of this. It was just a mess. And I think the price to demolish and rebuild was about £200,000 more. Well, let's just do that. Because I get a brand new office, 4 flats, and a barber shop. Rather than just an accountancy practice. Wrote to HSBC. You know your cash point? Can you get rid of it? I don't want the deal anymore. I said, no. 5 years you signed the lease. We're not moving for 5 years. I'm stuffed. That building just sat there and rotted. I'm paying a loan on it. I'm paying business rates. It's an eyesore. It's terrible. Stupidest thing I did. Put a sign on there. Sachdevs coming soon. So everyone knew it was me. So I was really stuffed. And it was just a mess. It was a complete mess. But 5 years came around.
You waited 5 years?
Waited 5 years. Lost a fortune, honestly. And I was getting sued. It's basically between a pub and a council estate. So people used to get drunk at the pub, walk to the council estate, trip over a bollard that had come loose, scratch themselves on the fencing, letter would land, insurance company not happy. One time, someone injured themselves. I was on holiday and I didn't renew the insurance for a week. It lapsed and then I got back on the insurance and the claim came
in that week.
So I had to pay this guy individually. God. It was just, and honestly, my wife she would drive past that place because you have to pass it every time we're going home. She was like, for God's sake, just sell the thing. I couldn't see the vision. I knew what was going to happen. I knew exactly what it would look like, what it would smell like, what it would feel like to work there, the clients that we'd get from it, the staff we'd get from it. I could only see that. Nothing was going to get in my way. So yeah, 2016, then I started planning. Planning would say, no, we're not having it. It's too big. No parking. No this. This is not happening. Then you have to get like bat surveys, newt surveys. And I'm trying to run a practice. I haven't got time for this. So then I just left it. It's like, this dream is not going to happen. And along came Andy. Andy's probably still my biggest client. Yeah, he's something special. And he'd come and see me in the office. And he would just go, if you don't leave this place, I'm going to leave you. Like that was his words. Like,
so your office in the garage still?
Yeah. He's like, I can't have my accountant being in this garage. Like, come on, this can't continue. I want to do it. I'm going to do it. My wife's father, my father-in-law, is a project manager. And she was like, just use Dad. Just use that. I didn't want to. It's kind of, first of all, you have to live with your father-in-law for a year. That was the scariest bit. So I kept putting it off. Tried to deal with it myself. Andy's doing a project in Dubai. I've never been to Dubai in my life. And this is 2017 now. September the 19th, 2017, the day before my birthday. He's doing an event at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. He's got Rick Ross, Craig David, Busta Rhymes all performing at his gig. I've had to book everyone. It's amazing. But he didn't want to deal with the admin. So he flew me out there. And I've never been to Dubai. I had no interest in coming here. Didn't hear great things about it. You know what the UK is like. It's kind of all the negativity. Anyway, so I'm forced to come here. And the reason I remember it's the 19th because the following day was my birthday. So on the 20th, I've done these meetings for him. And he takes me to the Armani Hotel. And we sit there. And I've had a day full of meetings. I've stupidly come in a suit. So I'm sweating. My life was a garage in Coventry. Yeah. And now I'm sitting in the Armani Hotel in the Burj Khalifa, overlooking these fountains, drinking whiskey like £50 a glass. It smashed every belief I had about what your life should be. I was like, this exists? This is real? Like, he's like, yeah, this is real. Like, the food there's phenomenal. I ate there last night, actually. So I've got a thing now. I always go back to that restaurant because I feel that's the restaurant that changed my life. So we finished up there. We're talking about our lives and how we ended up here. I mean, he's from Stratford upon Avon. I'm from Coventry. And how are we sitting here? It's mental. Flew back the next day. My father-in-law had been staying with my wife because we just had a baby, our second one. And so I said thanks for him. And he's walking off in the train station. Like I said, it's just next to our house. And I called him back. I said, Dad, can you build this building for me? He went, I can build you that building, son. It'll take a year. I'll be here all the time. But can you do it? Will it happen? Can you put all these engineers, architects, quantity surveyors, like all these people, can you get them together and get this started? And I think 3 weeks later, we demolished that building and it started. And he went, how much money you got? I ain't got anything. So I started applying to banks. Banks said, we aren't going to touch it. We don't touch development finance. Number one, you've got no experience. And number two, you've started the thing. Like, if you hadn't started, we might have considered it. So now I've got no money. And I've got to build this thing.
What's the practice like at this stage? Is it still
It's still going
along?
It's still going. So Dad had passed away a couple of years ago. And yeah, the practice is ticking on. I'm working really hard. Like, really. It was mainly because of Andy's business. I mean, he put me on a retainer and I was just working. That's just work. That's just what it was. I couldn't do that now, you know. But yeah. So I managed to probably earn maybe 100, 150 in that year, but it was a £500,000 build. Banks are saying no. And so I literally looked at my clients' accounts, find out who had money, and went to them. So I started with my uncle. Uncle goes, here's 150. Mum gave me 100. So I was still 250 short. No, not that much. 150 short. And literally went to one client. I texted him and go, are you in the office? He says, yeah. I said, I'm coming down. He goes, that's not due. What are you coming for? I went, it's personal. So he took me upstairs. And he goes, and I'll never forget this. And this is why I love him so much. He goes, what's up? I said, you need 100 grand. He went, what for? I said, the builder's going to walk off site if I don't have the 100. He goes, when do you need it by? It's probably 11 o'clock in the morning. I said, by 2 o'clock on a Friday. He went, my wife does all the banking. She's gone shopping. He went, she'll be back at 1. He went, give me a sort code and account number. And I gave it to him. And I went, you haven't asked me when you want to get it back or how much interest you're going to charge me. He's like, I'm not going to charge you interest. And I don't need to ask you when you want to pay it back. Literally, before I even got to the office, the money was in my account. Rang another couple of clients and they were like, mate, you've done so much for me. Like, just transfer it. And that was it. 3 clients, 150 grand hit the account. And we built the thing. It took 9 months. So we started in November 17 and we walked in on the 3rd of September 2018. We walked into that building and it was amazing. Like, weird time. Especially like Dad wasn't there. And like, he knew I'd started. He knew that something was going to happen. We never got to see it. But yeah, that's when it started.
Yeah, fantastic. It's a pretty special building. And I even mentioned his building in my book. But I think I haven't seen it personally. I've seen the pictures. But I think just describe some of the aspects of the building so people get a sense of, the grandeur of this place and what inspires you. Because I know it's got smells of Arabia and all sorts and foliage and whatnot, and you've got a full-time person that maintains it. So talk to us about it.
So I think image is really important.
100%.
You know, you can be the best accountant. If you don't look like a very good accountant, you're not going to get very far. So whilst we're building this, I saw a film called Inside Man. Great film. It's got 𝐤𝐿𝐴, famous Hollywood actor from Coventry. Which is probably why I like it. Anyway, the gist of it, he robs a bank from the inside. The owner of the bank, he hires a private investigator to basically find out who this guy is. When she goes to see him, he's having his hair cut in a room in his own bank. And I'm looking at it like, this guy, he basically he doesn't go to a barbershop. Like, he built a barbershop so that he doesn't have to waste time. I said to Sonia, when you build a building, I'm going to build a barbershop. So when I built it, the commercial unit, I made it a barbershop. Whenever the builder, my father-in-law said, just leave it blank. You don't know who's going to come in. I said, it's going to be a barbershop because I'm not driving 45 minutes, waiting in a queue and then pay for parking, drive 45 minutes, 3 hours to get a haircut. No, I want to be able to put my head in there, make sure no one's in there, go there, have my haircut whenever I want. This is my shop. you know. So I built the barber shop. And yeah, so you walk in, it's all open plan, everything glass partitioned, lots of kind of our signage everywhere, kind of neon lights, our name written in. We've got a bar, got a tea selection, got every soft drink you can imagine. Really high quality coffee, so with a nice kind of Biscoff biscuits. I always knew what I was doing, but I never put a label on it until you mentioned me in your book and you call it framing. And you're right. People needed to know, clients needed to know that when they walked in here, this was not going to be cheap. Yeah. And that's the point. Like you could walk into someone's garage, you think this is going to be cheap. This guy's working out, you know. And a lot of the clients, the wrong clients, were like, you're an idiot. Why are you moving to such an expensive office? You've got free rent here. That's why you're not a millionaire. Yeah. You don't get it. Because you're just looking at cost. Like you can't grow from your garage. But in that building, you can grow. So we've gone from 3 people to capacity probably 16 to 18. No paper. There's no paperwork. So they're like, where's the filing room? Like, there is no filing room. Like, there's the beer storeroom, but there's no filing room. I don't want to see paper. Those clients that come in with your shoebox, like, no, thank you. There's a bookkeeping firm opposite. Go and see them. Like, we're accountants and we deliver high quality stuff using high quality tech.
Perception's everything, right? And your perception drives how much client is willing to pay. And it's just like the power of context. Yeah, you can sell a bottle of Coke in a supermarket, £2. You sell a bottle of Coke in a cafe, £3. You sell a bottle of Coke in the Armani hotel, £7. Same bottle of Coke. But where and how something is sold affects someone's willingness to pay a higher price for it. So have you actually found that to be the case in reality, that people come in and are already... So talk to us about kind of when you're in the garage, what kind of clients you had, what kind of average fees compared to now you're in the bigger office, what that's able you to attract and command.
A lot of taxi driver, a couple of £100. Landlords, we charge £100 for the return, £25 a property, you know. So it's really small bills, you know, printing the bill off, posting it, client and I didn't get the bill, trying to post it again, then the check lands, name's wrong, date's not there, signature's missing. It was just a mess. Look, don't forget, we weren't seen. Yeah. Dad couldn't get up and go. I was training. So to get clients was really from word of mouth. But if you have the wrong clients, your word's being spread amongst the wrong people. It would be more, I've got nothing against taxi drivers. I don't want this to come across, but they're not our ideal client. You have to then certainly look to be a lot bigger. And that was a great excuse. Clients that would just, you do the work for a year, they'd wait to 9 months to really want their accounts doing. You say, why are you waiting 9 months? Well, because then I don't have to pay your bill because you haven't done the accounts. Then you do the account, then you send the bill, then they moan about the bill. Then you see 5 post-dated checks, all addressed to my dad, who's been gone at this point like 3-4 years. This got to stop. This got to stop. So call the client in. I go, look, you've got 2 choices. You want to start doing stuff my way, or you go and find another accountant. Most of them said, yeah, okay, we'll do stuff your way. I go, it's direct debit, it's monthly. That's the price. That's everything. You won't get another bill. Just that's the amount each month.
You're operating at a different level, right? So you're now able to punch in the same weight division as some of the bigger firms just because of that presence. And talking about some of the stories that you can share around clients being attracted to you because now of your presence and how that makes you look and the kind of clients that you have now and the fees you're able to charge now compared to what you used to be.
They were working in Coventry. They live in a village called Borsall Common. You have to go past our office. And they called one day and they said, we're looking for a new accountant. We're starting a new business. We're into scrap metal. We're looking for an accountant. You're interested? And the guy who took the call, the girl who manages the office, she wasn't in. So it's one of the lads who took the call. And he just came to me and he says, look, scrap metal guy. And in my head, I'm thinking the guys that pick up the fridge freezer off kind of, you know, play that weird tune from their van. You leave your fridge and your ladders and whatever you want outside your street and they pick it up. And I went, that's not really an ideal client. £250 a month. And he's like, that's a lot for it. I go, look, it's going to be hard work. You know there's going to be loads of money laundering issues. Like, just quote him that. He went, yeah, and they said, that's fine. I went, great. Crack on, set him up. So I didn't then get involved. The team set up everything. Literally a week later, he comes to me and says, what about the VAT registration? I went, that guy doesn't need a VAT registration. They're saying that they want a VAT registration. All right, charge him for the VAT registration, do the VAT. Okay, fine. 9 months goes by. And he goes, Aaron, he's got a VAT checking. I go, well, obviously, if you're involved in that kind of, you're going to get a VAT checking. All right, load it up. And so he loads up the 9 months accounts into the 3 quarters, just so I can get an idea of the turnover and the cost and stuff. Quarter 1, 1.2 million. Look at this going, you've loaded up the wrong client. He went, no, this is the scrap metal company. I went, what, the guy that picks up the stuff from, he goes, who told you that? I said, you did. He goes, well, you've misunderstood me. They buy in the tons and sell in the tons. We're charging them £250 a month. So this story came up last night and they were in stitches. They were like, when you got a fee, we knew you got it wrong. But we weren't going to say anything. Yeah, we're doing VAT returns, doing management accounts, we're doing a lot. This company's doing millions. And so yeah, but they came to us because of our office. Another company, they do like fire safety systems. And they bought an old bank, another one in Coventry, which HSBC closed, and they turned it into flats. And they're obviously driving past ours saying, HSBC turned into flats. Our accountant doesn't know about the accounting treatment. Let's go to this guy. And they've got 3 businesses. One of them is the property development. And they go, we want you because you have done exactly what we're doing. Our accountant hasn't got a clue. So the building is a big pull factor. And then Andy's happy.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to go there anymore. Thing is, now he's so big, I don't see him anyway. But he's, I suppose, proud of who we are. And he's seen us grow and I see him grow. And it's a very mutual thing. I think that's what...
That's kind of clients you want, right? That, are happy to see you do well.
Right.
Because success breeds success,
exactly.
Right? You want your accountant to do well.
Yeah.
Because you're expecting them to give you business advice.
Yeah.
You don't want an accountant who's not doing that well.
Yeah. Put a bit of micro.
Why am I seeking advice from someone who's not very good at running a business themselves?
Yeah. Well, it's like, if you're trying to lose weight, which I've been trying to do for 20 years, but I'm not going to go to an overweight PT. Like, I need him to be fit and in shape and see what he's eating. If I see him at the kebab shop or see him at McDonald's, I'm like, yeah, you're probably not the guy for me. And that goes against the thinking that we were taught. When I was 25, I bought a Porsche. I remember we were working at the garage and I was living there. And Dad went ballistic. He's like, you just killed our business. He's like, what are people going to think? Asians. Everything's about the people. What will people think? Who are these people? I've never met these people that have these judgments, but apparently they're out there. What will people think that the accountant's bought himself a Porsche? Well, number one, you didn't. He goes, yeah, but in our community, that's what people will think. Because I don't think a 25-year-old is able to do that. And they're like, we're paying him too much. But no one cared. We didn't lose a single client. I'd go and see clients in the Porsche and go, well done, son. You must be doing something right. Maybe you can have a word with my son. He's a lazy bugger. I was like, yeah, I'll have a word with him. And now, actually, you're not just accountant and client. You're like confidant, you're advisor. You're setting an example and teaching people, how to do well. Even your wealthiest clients. It's now, because we've got so many of these really good clients, you can pick from experiences. So yeah, I know a client, one of my clients had that exact same problem. I know exactly what you need to do, exactly who you need to see. I'll send you this guy's number. No one asks. At that level, no one asks, what's the price? They don't care. They're just like, I need a solution here. And just get it done. Do we ask the price when we're in Dubai?
You don't want to know the price.
No, exactly. You don't want to know it. You just take my card. Okay, yeah. I'll deal with it when I get home. See the transactions come through on zero and go, better do some work this month. But people just want their problem solved.
Absolutely. 100%.
And they're happy to pay for it. Yeah. Those days where it's, when I hear some of your other students when we're on the on the chat, well, there's too much competition here. I have to undercut. It's like, you're in the wrong game. Competition doesn't matter. I told you about Folser Road. Our old office is now a barber shop. The next 7 neighbours are all barber shops. You could look at that and go, yeah, but we're stuffed. Everyone's going to go for the cheapest. They're not. You become the barber community. Everyone heads there to have their hair cut. And you're all now eating from a bigger pool, But small-mindedness, no, too much competition. Have to compete on price.
Never a good strategy. The race to the bottom, right? So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Key is differentiation. Let's talk about some of the stuff that you've done in your practice, because you don't spend a lot of time doing accountancy work anymore. So talk to us about that journey. When did that start, where you started to kind of hand off more of the accounting work, client relationship management to the team? And what was your process in doing it? What does your structure look like? Talk to us about that.
That was really hard to do. Really, I know everyone talks about it and building systems and processes. When you find yourself working 12, 13 hours a day, Saturdays and Sundays, and that's all you've known, that just becomes the norm until you have kids. And you're like, I can't just do this. Like, my kids are just going to grow up. Like, this has to change. The new building helped us recruit better staff, made a lot of mistakes, recruited a lot of wrong people. But that didn't mean the system was wrong. Your best clients will still only want to speak to you. And the worst thing is the firm's called Sachdevs. Like, my name's on the bloody board. So every client wanted to speak to me. And so recruited, number one, a really good accountant. And those are hard to find, but we got there and we were adding to that pool. But number two, adding a practice manager. That was key. I don't know, and I didn't know at the time of any of the firms, other than the big ones who had like the secretaries, who had a practice manager. So we took someone on. She left after one day. Not for her. She worked for a big firm. She said, I want to work for a small family business. Worked for a small family business. Realised she wants to work for a big firm. That didn't work. Got someone else in. Really, really posh. Like, so well spoken. It was incredible. You know, privately educated, went skiing and this, that, and the other. But nothing going on. But yeah, like the lights were on, no one's home. They had to politely get rid of her. Then we met a really good PM. She was fantastic. Really confident, really chatty. She loved the job, but then decided she wants to go traveling for a year. That one, and to be honest, that was 6 years ago. She's still traveling. But me and my wife used to sit there and go, what if she leaves? What are we going to do if she leaves? Like, we're going to be stuffed. And when she walked into my office with that look on her face and an envelope in her hand, went home, and I was like,
so what was that person doing there? What were the practice management doing? Exactly?
She was just really confident. She would have a go at dealing with something before just, and this was the culture at the time. The staff would do the bare minimum. Anything they weren't sure, it would just be forward to Aaron. So I was just getting inundated with stuff.
Yeah.
Where she would just take responsibility of that. She was like, I'll have a go. We had to rein her in a bit. She started giving tax advice, which was not ideal. Client would ask a question, she'd Google it and then just recite it. And the client would be like, yeah, so that person told me to do this. I went, called her and go, are you giving tax advice? She goes, I just Googled it. It's not hard. I was like, we got to rein this in a bit.
So she wasn't an accountant?
She wasn't an accountant. No. She couldn't spell accountant. Yeah. No. She was great. But what was great about it, she said, listen, don't worry. I've already found you my replacement. There's a girl I've worked with loads. She's going to come in tomorrow. Like, I've already found your replacement. She's not going to be as good as you. And yeah, we were worried. That girl is like phenomenal. Like, she just gets everything. Really, really clever. A bit like your Karen, you know. Yeah, I don't know what to do without her. Probably shouldn't say that. We'll request for a pay rise when this comes out. But she wouldn't wait for me to give her stuff. She'd be like, I know what you do when this happens, and I've done this. I've drafted this letter. Is that all right? Like, yeah. I didn't have to do that job. Invoicing. I would then do all the invoicing because I liked it. For me, sending an invoice is making money. Like, it's the best part. Like, I've just earned this amount. That invoice is gone. And because it's now direct debit, like, the invoice is gone in 7 days. That money's going to come in and I can do this, I can do that. And it was exciting. But work would just not get invoiced because I wouldn't know the status of jobs and stuff like that. So she put in a practice management software and she's like, I'm going to do all the invoicing. Initially, I took the view that you're going to miss stuff. Like, you won't know about that job and that job. And that probably does happen. But what about the other 1,000 things that I miss? The amount of money I leave on the table, which she doesn't. You know, and I see all these little direct debits coming in. I was like, what's that? She goes, I'm registering for self-assessment. Oh, we charge for that? She said, yeah, I just charge him £100. Okay. I was like, this client, he wants to do everything himself. He just wants to use it as a registered office. Like, okay. She goes, I agree that the first year would be free in the incorporation. And after that, I've set up a recurring invoice. Like, we now charge for that. POI registration, VAT registration. All these small things. No one moans. No one goes, we're charging £75 for a VAT registration. It only takes 2 minutes. Do it yourself then. Yeah. Now, what do you need me for? And she just gets it. And you just see the turnover grow. And now I'm not doing any of the fun stuff. Okay. So what do I do?
So at what stage did you feel you needed to bring a practice manager in so people get a sense of what did your firm look like? How many people turnover wise? Did you feel, right, I need someone in there now that is not going to be doing any accounting work, but I need them to essentially manage operations, right?
I think when the kids came along.
Okay, to relieve you of the burden, to kind of buy back your time, right?
Yeah. But also because firm had grown one way or another, I was now rubbing shoulders with different types of people. You know, if you just stick to those traditional clients, you end up becoming like them because they're working every hour God sends. They're opening the shop at 7 o'clock in the morning, finishing at 9 o'clock at night. Now, I should be doing that. And our forefathers were like, look at him. Look what he does. And you go home at 5 o'clock. How dare you? And then you think, oh, yeah, you're right. Like, I should be doing that. Then you start rolling with bigger clients. It's like, where are you? I'm in Dubai. I'm in Singapore. I'm here. Like, what about your business? Who's running that? It's like, my team run it. And so holidays used to be a nightmare. We'd go on holiday and I would just be logged in. I'd be by the pool on my laptop, logged in, responding to emails. And so when I realized I don't need to do that, she actually picks up these things and deals with it. And I come back to the office after a week, reluctantly open Outlook and kind of cross my fingers. No one's stressing. There's not a bunch of this guy screaming, that guy screaming. He's asking, where's that? Where's this? Actually, there are good people out there who you can hand over the reins to. But Sonia took on that role, and Sonia's my wife. And obviously when she fell pregnant, there was a void. Okay, I can't go back into that role. We need to now start filling in these things. And it's moved on. So our practice manager, she's now so busy. I now need my own inbox managing, you know, emails are coming in left, right, and center as the business grows. Now I have my practice manager who runs the business. I have my office manager who looks after the building because the building needs a lot. There's 4 tenants upstairs. There's the glass needs cleaning. The plants need watering. There's all this, which by the way is all subcontracted out, which is a weird one. Because you're sitting with a client and someone like, who's that guy? I was like, he's the plant watering person. Like, you have a plant watering person. I was like, it's essential that the plants look amazing.
Yeah.
But why don't you just get one of the team to do it? Because they're accountants.
Yeah.
I can't say to that someone, right, I need you to do these accounts, this tax return. By the way, can you also water the plants? Like, no, employ people who are great at what they do and just let them thrive in that. I'm not going to say to the practice manager, water the plants. That's not her thing. So office manager, she deals with tenancies and the building needs a lot of work. So it's like, well, who's going to look after my stuff? So now I have a PA and she deals with me. And look, a lot of them are local, a lot of them are not. Some are remote. You can get them fairly cheap. You use the Philippines, India, South Africa. You get really good stuff there for a fraction of the price. So I build my team. I've recently taken on a tax manager who purely does tax. But most people will say, well, what do you need a tax manager? Like, you're an accountant. You should do that. But it's a very niche specialism and you need the best people doing it.
And they pay for themselves, right? And especially someone in tax will pay for themselves. So it's a worthwhile investment.
And even if you don't make a profit off them, your job is being done and your clients are happy.
I'm sure some people listen to this thinking, okay, practice manager, do they need to be technical? Do they need to know accounts? I know your practice management, what's her name again? Sorry? Deanna, that's it. She doesn't have an accounting background and she comes from a very different background. So talk to us about that. And then, you know, your assessment of her abilities to do that particular role with her background without having to worry about her knowing anything about accounting or tax.
Well, it was deliberate. So, well, I don't want anyone with a kind of mathematical numbers background because it's so easy to get swept into that. It's so easy to then go, well, I'll do the books. I've seen these guys do the job. I know what to do. I know how to call HMRC. I know what to say to them. And then what ends up happening, you now have another accountant and you haven't got a practice manager. So Dee, she has a first class honours in event management. And you speak to the accountants, they're like, what's that got to do with accountancy? It's like, nothing. What's got to do with running a business is what you should be asking. Well, event management, what does that entail? Actually organising and juggling lots of plates all the time under constant pressure. Imagine being a wedding planner. Like, that's got to be the hardest job ever, or organising a party. Like, you're dealing with so many people. And that's why I have a lot of respect for my father when he built the building, because I was being hammered by all these different people, the builders, the architects, the engineers. And I was just like, I just feel attacked. I feel like you're all coming at me wanting, but I can't do it. I don't know what you're talking about. And I think that's what event planning is like. So number one, you've got a first. It doesn't matter what course you do at what uni. If you get a first, you're switched on. Like, there's a lot going on upstairs. You're clearly very intelligent. And number two, then in event management, you can clearly organise. Well, what's a practice manager's job? Just be really switched on and make sure everything that needs to be done is being done in a system which you can develop yourself. I don't say to her, do this like that, do that like that. It's like, D, this needs solving. Can you fix it? She'll just say, leave it with me. And it gets done. And that's the best bit. Like, it just gets done. I'm not having to chase anything. I don't ask how it gets done. And look, if something happened to her or she left, like, I'd probably be in a bit of trouble. But actually, she makes so many notes and systemizes everything that if the worst did happen, be able to just step in and that can just carry on. Because she set all this up. She has a credit card, just let her crack on. At the start, it was like, can I spend £15 on this? And I was like, D, just do what you need to. Yeah. And it's nice. It's nice to teach people how you business, like, I see it sometimes kind of, if paper got stuck in the printer, she'd try and reuse that paper. So what do you think you're saving? Like, she just texted me now saying, we had a tenant move out upstairs and they moved out on the 31st, but the council of invoices from the 30th. Do you want me to go back to them and argue it? So, well, it's £90 a month, £3 a day. Really want to argue over £3? She went, no, just pay it. Like, let's just move forward with what we're supposed to be doing. And so taking her, I train her a lot. I invest in her personal development. I give her what she needs. At least I hope I do. And yeah, she pays me back infinitely. But yeah, not an accountant. Didn't know. Now she knows a lot about accounts, but she didn't know anything about accounts. And I don't want her to. I want her to be an incredible practice manager, which she is. I don't want her to become an okay practice manager and an okay accountant. Because you know what? I can get accountants. That PM is...
Exactly.
It's a very difficult role to fill.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. No, it's a great example of kind of getting good people and then trusting them, giving them autonomy and trust to do their job well. And good people will no doubt give you a return and pay it back in multiples. And
it's an ethos in our office. I said the worst thing you can do is get stuck, sit on it and do nothing. So look, we're not doing heart surgery. Like, a small mistake is not going to kill. Sometimes clients say, what are your out of office numbers? Like, we don't have one. Well, what if I need you in an emergency? When has there been a tax emergency, that you need to call me on a Saturday night? Like, we're not doing heart surgery. If you get stuck, have a go. I will reward you endlessly for having an attempt. Even if it goes completely wrong, scrap it, we'll start again. Say to the client, it's going to be delayed by a bit. Yeah. No one's banging our door down for the work. But if you look at something and go, I can't do that, and you just do nothing, that's a problem. And that actually doesn't really work with what we're trying to do, and we'll let you off once or twice. Third time, you're not for us. My biggest problem in our business is that I hire quickly and I fire slowly. And it's the worst thing. Someone will come for an interview, I just like them. I'm like, yeah, you can have a job. Because I like them. Even though all the flags are there, all the signs are there that they're wrong. And I know I need to sack them, but I can't. And eventually, it weighs on you heavily, and then you have to let them go. But now I've switched that.
Other way, right?
Yeah. And now if someone's not right, I just get rid of them.
Fire slow, fire fast.
Yeah, exactly. And then I really take my time. So tax manager, we waited months and months and months. Loads of really good, geeky guys on the interview. They've got the books behind them like lawyers used to do back in the day. They can recite any tax law to you, but they were so boring. So you're not going to fit in our culture. Like, I'm worried for when you're going to be in the office because no one's going to talk to you. It's just really boring. And so we waited, and then we found the right guy. Culturally fits well. He's a good lad. He's a laugh. Similar age group to us. And you take your time. And you build that team. I always think of like football. Both of us are big football fans, although we support opposite teams. But I look at someone like Mikel Arteta, when he took over that Arsenal team, and I watched the documentary. You've seen it? The Amazon one?
No, not yet.
I know you don't want to see it, being a Spurs fan. And I have this argument with Man United fans and Spurs fans that I'm not going to watch it. So look, I've seen the Tottenham one where it followed Mourinho. Watch it. And you can see that he's got this bunch of players and he can see where the problems are. They're clear to him and he solved them. He didn't sit, well, Aubameyang's on 300 grand a week, I can't not play him. I bought Pepe for 97 million pounds. The last guy did. Like, he's crap. I've got to get rid of him. He just cut it. He was just like, I don't care. I need my team. And so that's what I've developed over the last 10 years. I took on Dad's team. Yeah. And most of them aren't here anymore. They'd been with us for years. Your Dad's guy. You're not my guy. Like, I want my team. So over the years, I've built that team and I've trained that team and I've got them, and they're all flourishing. They're all doing really well.
Yeah.
But it's my team, and I think if you hire slowly and build your team slowly, once you got your team right, then actually your life becomes really easy.
100%.
Yeah, it just runs itself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the dream. Fantastic. Arun, we could sit here for hours.
Yeah.
It's unfortunately we're out of time. It's been a fascinating listen to hear of your journey, and no doubt there's been some value shared for the audience in this. So thank you very much, Arun,
No problem.
for spending the time to share your story today. And I hope you've got value from today's session. If you've got any questions, comments, put them in the comments below, and obviously you can get them answered for you. Otherwise, I hope you had value once again, and I'll catch up with you on the next session. Take care and bye for now.